While Kirby is known to hide parts of its lore in pause screens or figurines, sometimes the Japanese version of the text slightly differs from the English version, for better or worse. But there's one certain piece that I think, if true, could likely change a lot of what we know about Kirby up to this point, and it has to do with Star Allies' final boss, Void. The Japanese text states that it's influenced by four matters: dream, dark, soul, and heart. They're described like they're some sort of substance. But what could these four matters be? What elements of the game could help us speculate about them more? Well, sit back, relax, and let's start with two matters that I believe may share a connection with each other. I think it's likely that hard matter is the energy of positive emotions, while dark matter is the energy of negative emotion, due to times where it's shown that something related to positive energy repels something related to negative energy. For example, Rainbow Sword from Dreamland 2, the Love Stick from Dreamland 3, and Ripple Star's Crystal from 64 of the Crystal Shards. In Dreamland 3, you can only get heart stars by completing different tasks like bringing an animal friend to the end of a level to someone they share a close relationship with. After completing that task, heart stars form in response to their positive emotions at that point. There's also the fact that the heart stars act as a sort of purifier of dark matter. At the end of every boss fight in Dreamland 3, all the heart stars you collect form together and get rid of the dark matter plaguing the area. This could also imply that the Rainbow Sword and Ripple Star's Crystal are also made of hard matter, since the Rainbow Sword can deflect dark matter's attacks, and the first thing dark matter targets when invading Ripple Star is the crystal, like they know it's a major weakness to their invasion. Either that or they're weak to anything that has to do with light. But at the same time, while the dark matter race has been shown as nothing more than a threat, it's not the case for all of them, or the dark matter energy they're made out of. A person can be made of hard or dark matter, but still be different on the inside. And the best example of this that comes to mind for dark matter is Gooey. Gooey is a dark matter much like, well, dark matter in Zero, but he's one of Kirby's friends and partners in Dreamland 3 and in Star Allies, and gets along pretty well with everyone else. But assuming these artifacts do utilize hard matter, what if the same was true for dark matter? And if so, what possible candidates could there be? While there isn't much to go on, I believe that there are a few artifacts that could possibly fit the bill. Do let me know if there are any others you could think of, or you think any of the ones I'm about to mention do or don't fit at all. First, we've got the Master Crown, where in Magolor's Extra Mode boss fight, the crown is said to offer great power to its wearer, but at the cost of consuming their soul, imprisoning them with the hatred and obsessions of past rulers. It's always likely the Master Crown is unrelated to dark matter energy, but then again, I think it's likely that if the hatred and obsessions of past wearers of the Master Crown are what keeps its wearers imprisoned by it and possessed, then maybe it would imply that the Master Crown is not only sentient, but is powered by the dark matter, or in other words, energy of the negative emotions of past wearers of the crown, specifically the energy from their hatred and obsession. Candidate 2 is the Dimensional Mirror. We know that gazing into the mirror too much can corrupt a person's desires into something darker, since that's what happened with ScHIAuChi gazing into the mirror too much, and becoming obsessed with power and beauty. But there's also the fact that the mirror is home to shadow versions of characters we know, like Meta Knight, King Dedede, Taranza, and even Kirby. Although ScHIAuChi isn't evil. Honestly, the worst you can say about ScHIAuChi is that he's implied to be a little bit more mischievous than the real Kirby, based on his description in Kirby Fighters. But even so, he still has a desire to do good, since while he fights off Kirby in Amazing Mirror a few times, it's only to keep intruders out of the mirror world. In reality, ScHIAuChi is more than eager to help Kirby protect the mirror world from danger. As for candidate number 3, they're a certain pair of items exclusive to Kirby Fighters 2, the Masks of Dark Bonds. Honestly, I was a bit iffy on this, but it's the descriptions for the masks that makes me think they utilize dark matter energy, on the basis that they're the power of negative emotions. In Kirby Fighters 2, Kirby and another friend of his have to fight King Dedede and Meta Knight together in a competition, but according to the mask's description, when Dedede and Meta Knight put the mask on, they lost sight of themselves during their battle, which doesn't sound too different from the Master Crown's possession or the Dimensional Mirror's corruption. I also think that Jama Hearts are another possible candidate, since those infected like King Dedede act on negative emotions. He reverts back to how he was in Kirby's Dreamland, by stealing as much of the food as he wants. But when it hits Meta Knight, he loses his chivalrous personality for some kind of hidden wild strike that's always been inside of him. Meanwhile, the Friend Hearts make any enemies that it touches, well, friendlier, or they can purify anyone too overwhelmed by the darkness. dark matter, when a lot of friend hearts are collected. Anytime we're shown the powers of these items in Kirby, they're always tied to emotions in some way, whether it's bringing out or sending positive emotions or doing the same thing for negative emotions. Which is why I believe they could represent the energy of heart matter and dark matter. Do mainly know your own thoughts and theories on the topic. But next is another matter that I think is worth talking about. Based on what it's called, I think it's possible that soul matter is the energy that gives Kirby characters life. But most of the time, souls in Kirby were mostly used as a way to label revived forms of final bosses. But assuming soul matter is life energy, Planet Robobot in Forgotten Land could possibly give us a better understanding of it. In Robobot, Haltman's body gets hijacked by Stardream after absorbing most of his soul, but during the battle with Stardream's revived form, Stardream Soul OS, the pause text states that a small part of Haltman's soul still remains inside of Stardream, which could imply that souls can be broken down into different amounts, which we later see in Forgotten Land. After defeating Elphalus and reverting back into his malicious side, Forgo, they take Leongar to a world of their own making, and parts of Leongar's soul are scattered throughout the levels. All of them are needed to fully bring Leongar back to life. But during the rescue mission, we can also see that the souls of others are able to take over different bodies, like when Forgo's soul tries to use Leongar's body as a new vessel, and after he can't wake up when Forgo's defeated, the rest of the Beast Pack manage to find more pieces of Leon's soul. If we're going by the idea that soul matter is life energy, then we can assume that all the souls Kirby and Elflin found weren't enough at the time, but Leon was able to wake up still because Forgo's soul made up for the missing amount. Either that, or Forgo's soul was the only soul in Leon's body, and the amount of souls Kirby and Elflin had helped Leon regain parts of himself, but not all of himself. But either way, both might imply that the amount of soul matter is important to forming a complete soul for the body, enough to fully gain their sense of self. And I think one strong example of this is the soul of ScHIAuChi, who's a revived form of Queen ScHIAuChi. Her pause text describes her as an undead being, since she's called a husk. Based on our idea of soul matter, this could mean that this form of ScHIAuChi has enough soul matter to come back to life, but not enough to actually reform her soul completely, hence why she's described as a husk of her former self. And in a way, the idea of whoever has more soul matter is a dominant controller of the body is also implied in Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Since the Master Crown is sentient, we could roll with the idea that the Master Crown's own soul matter overtook Magolor's body after Kirby defeated him, since Magolor would be too weakened to fight back the Master Crown's control at that point, which isn't too dissimilar to what happens with Leon. But overall, while we don't have too much to go off of with soul matter, we can at least hazard an educated guess based on what we've been shown and told about souls in Kirby up to this point. Which leaves another matter to talk about. In a franchise like Kirby, Dream Matter could mean anything. But if heart and dark matter are the energy of positive and negative emotions, and soul matter is life energy, what if dream matter is the energy of imagination? The reasons why I think this could be so has to do with Fecto Elphalus. While I did mention previously that they retreat to a world of their own making after they're defeated, the world they created is called Isolated Isles Forgo Dreams. As the name says, it's a dream world created through Elphalus' psychic powers. But given the name of the place, to achieve something this powerful, what if Elphalus' psychic powers are more than that? Maybe what they actually are is the energy of dream matter, especially considering Elphalus' other creations within this world, phantom versions of the Beast Pack and King Dedede. They're more hostile than their real-world counterparts, being based on Elphalus' memories of them and made of his negative thoughts. It's also implied that Elphalus purposefully disincluded memories of their relationships, as you're told that Phantom Dedede has no memories of his friendship with Kirby, and Phantom Coraline has little to no care for Leongar. In other words, Elphalus created his own controllable imagining of King Dedede and the Beast Pack. But maybe another candidate for dream matter as the energy of imagination could be the Fountain of Dreams in Kirby's Adventure, and its remake Nightmare in Dreamland. According to Magolor in Return to Dreamland and Deluxe, an older race of beings called the Ancients created artifacts that could bring dreams to life, which lines up with what you're told about the Fountain of Dreams in Super Smash Bros. Melee. The description states that it uses the Star Rod to create a gush of dreams that flow like water. The dreams then become a fine mist and drift all over the land, bringing peaceful rest to one and all. And given that Dedede slaying the Star Rod causes everyone to not have dreams, it is more than likely true. Or in other words, Fountain of Dreams and the Star Rod keep the people of Dreamland's imaginations in a positive way when they're sleeping. But there could be one more candidate that could fit as an example of dream matter. If we're going with the idea that dream matter is the energy of imagination, then another possible contender could be Drossia, Paintra, and Vividria. Drossia is the main villain of Kirby Canvas Curse. She has the ability to bring her paintings to life. In fact, Drossia herself was a painting given life. But later on, Triple Deluxe would bring us a boss called Paintra, whose backstory states that she was part of a painting depicting three sisters who were separated at birth. This is emphasized further in Vividria's guest star text in Kirby Star Allies, where she explicitly mentions having sisters. These all imply that Drossia, Paintra, and Vividria are likely the paintings of the sisters given life, which doesn't sound too different from the Phantom Ace. If memories could be used as a basis for creating the Phantom bosses through Alphalus's dream matter, then what's to say something else can be used as a basis? Something like paintings, for example. It's a stretch for sure, but one reason why this could be the case has to do with Drossia's magical artifact, the magical paintbrush. Canvas Curse isn't the only time we see this item, because that same item gets referenced in Return to Dreamland, where it's shown in one of Stone Kirby's forms, alongside the Star Rod and the Triple Star from ScHIAuChi. Given the name, we can just assume the Triple Star has the same properties as the Star Rod. That and ScHIAuChi is a mainline game, but why the magical paintbrush in particular? What if it's because the Star Rod and the magical paintbrush have certain similarities to each other? And what if that something has to do with imagination? But as of right now, the 4 matters are a hidden piece of information. But at some point in the future, these concepts get revisited. I think they'd be an interesting way of expanding on everything we already know in the series, while being something that could be worth exploring and experimenting on in the future. But please, do let me know what your take on the 4 matters is. If you'd like to see more Kirby videos like this on the channel, please do leave a like to help spread this video out to other fans, and subscribe to stay updated on when more videos will come in the future. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.